So today, I want to talk about ADHD and magic. So about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed at the magnificent age of 35 with being autistic. Now that didn't really come as a surprise, but what did come as a surprise is the additional diagnosis that I got of combined presentation ADHD. Now, at the time of the diagnosis, I was really pleased, I guess, to finally have some answers about how I've behaved and some of the things I've struggled with throughout my life. But ADHD was never something that I thought that I had. So it took a lot of looking back through a different lens on my life to try and understand like how it's impacted me and things that I need to do going forward to like make my life sustainable. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what I've noticed when trying to learn magic as somebody with ADHD, because I think it's quite interesting and might resonate with some people out there. For me, what that actually looks like day to day is a bit of a mess. Some days I can be extremely dialed in on something. I have to be very, very careful what I decide to turn my attention to. And I say that because I become overwhelmed with interest in things. So for example, magic, photography, was computers when I was younger. I learned to code, completely self-taught, ended up getting a lead developer job. So once my mind is locked in on the thing that I want to do, I have a magnificent ability to disappear into the detail of anything and learn. I'm like a sponge. So it's not all bad, and it has paid dividends for my career. And for that reason, they offered to medicate me, and I said, no bueno. I'm sort of happy with the chaos that ADHD brings me to my life. That said, it is not all sunshine and rainbows, and I want to talk about why, and specifically how it's impacted learning magic. So I guess the dark side, shall we call it the dark side? The dark side of ADHD. Yeah, let's go with it. So the dark side of ADHD for me is, as much as I've just told you that I can lock in and I can disappear into a task and I literally can pick up something and 10 hours go by and I've lost an entire day without looking up. It can be that good / bad, depending on how you look at it. The opposite side of that coin is that I can be completely stuck, like not even able to pick something up, not even able to turn the first page of a book. You get severe anxiety of the thought of even starting the thing. It's like I will put everything off until the last minute. If it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done in my life. So it's a real pain because I know as soon as I start on the thing, I'm able to get locked in. But then other days I can't start on the thing. And even when I do start looking at the thing, I become so disinterested in like 5 minutes or less. It's incredibly annoying for somebody who is a perfectionist in everything that they do. And what this has led to prior to diagnosis is essentially a lifetime of like self-loathing, of being like, why can't you just lock in? Why can't you do the thing? Why can't you learn this new thing? Like, why is it taking you 6 months to be able to do this one thing? And that sort of throughout my life has manifested in an immense amount of pressure on myself. So one thing that getting a diagnosis did help with is like being kinder to myself and understanding the limitations and how my brain works and sort of working towards its strengths. Anyway, we are going to get into the magic part of this right now. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos that I've put out, I talk a little bit about how many magic tricks I've actually bought. Now, I can attribute that 100% to just impulsivity. Like, a symptom of ADHD is being impulsive, and my impulse control is absolutely zero. If I'm feeling bad, I'm gonna go and buy a thing to make myself feel better, which is not the right thing to do. And it is that instant gratification, which then turns into pressure for me because I buy all of these tricks and then I'm not spending the time to learn the tricks, which is a challenge. So what I've decided to do is come up with a bit of a plan of how I can better learn magic, and I've broken it down into 2 categories. So the first category is sleights and things that I can have in my hands at all times. So what I've noticed I'm able to do is I can sit with a coin in my hand all day, 12, 15 hours. It can be in my hand, I can be fidgeting, practicing the same thing over and over again. And an example of this is one of the sleights I talked about in my last video, called the Insim Vanish. It's like a muscle pass variation, and it looks very, very cool. And I reckon I've probably drilled that now for about 30 to 40 hours, just straight. So I have this really good ability to just continuously do the same thing over and over and over again. And I guess you could probably thank autism for that as well. Those repetitive tasks actually feel quite good. So learning things like, coin sleights, like having a deck of cards in my hand and learning some of that stuff, I'm not really struggling with that side of it. Where I'm struggling is with the tricks that require you to sit and watch a tutorial or do multiple things at once. And I want to talk about the system that I've come up with to try and combat that, and it seems to be working, bizarrely. I want to talk about what wasn't working first, and what currently isn't working is that drawer behind me. There is some tricks in there that I've opened and closed that drawer so many times now, I've managed to break the drawer. Like, this should give you an idea of how much I'm trying to learn the tricks, but my brain is like, nope, not today. So what wasn't working and what I was doing when I first got these tricks is I bought all the tricks, I pick one that I want to learn, I get the trick out the drawer, I bought this nice practice mat, which is gorgeous by the way, from Vorst and Bost. So those practice mats are like unbelievably high quality. Anyway, getting on a tangent. I get the mat out, I put the trick on the map, I load up the tutorial, I put the password into the tutorial, I watch the first 35 seconds of the tutorial, then I turn it off, I put the mat back down in the drawer, I open the drawer, I put the trick back inside, and I'm like, yeah, I'll come back to that later. And that doesn't work if you want to try and learn magic, trust me. So what I've decided to do is to try and embrace 3 principles, and those are micro-learning, so breaking things down into extremely manageable chunks. The second one is embracing self-working card tricks or self-working tricks, like loosen the load, so I'm able to learn and then get the satisfaction from learning the thing to then build confidence to go and learn harder things. That's been key. And the third one is just to focus on one trick at a time. So what I've been doing in the past is having like 6 tricks on the go at once and then trying to learn them all at once, and the brain is like, oh well, you must learn them all, and I'm just really having to try hard to be like, put everything else down, pick this one trick up and just learn this one thing. Now that is very difficult for me, don't get us wrong, but just working by these 3 principles, like the micro learning thing has been a game changer for me. So rather than looking at a 20-minute tutorial or an hour tutorial or a Craig Petty 3-day tutorial, that's not a dig on Craig, by the way. I absolutely love Craig's tutorials. They're my favorite out of all of them. But just looking at how long it is and then giving myself 3 to 5 minutes. So I get the trick out, I get my mat out, I put the mat down, I load the tutorial, then commit to 5 minutes, set a timer on my watch, on my phone, sorry. And for those 5 minutes, I'm watching. And then if I'm still engaged, I'll continue watching. If I'm not, I'll take a break, I'll walk away, and then I'll come back. Now, I say walk away and come back. That could literally be the next day, or it could be in 2 hours time or 3 hours time. But it's working very, very well. And just in the last week, I've been able to learn and memorize 3 different tricks, so one of them was a self-working card trick from YouTube, which I absolutely love. The second one was Australian Aces, and the third one was McDonald's Aces, which I just finished learning yesterday, and I can do it off the bounce now. I've memorized all 3 of them, and I'm absolutely buzzing to actually have 3 tricks that I could walk out onto the street and perform. Now that's a whole other different video, but like just breaking things down into micro tasks has been a game changer for me in learning some of this magic that I've bought, and I'm sticking to the system and it seems to be working very, very well. Now I said self-working tricks, I guess for a beginner, like a self-working trick just loosens the cognitive load that you need to carry around. So like there's less to learn, therefore it's slightly easier to do. And a lot of these tricks are bloody brilliant, by the way. The self-working card trick that I learned on YouTube the other day is brilliant. Like, no sleight of hand, no really overly technical stuff. Again, for me, it's like trying to lower the stakes of like not looking at a 20-minute tutorial and being like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to learn. I'm not going to be able to sit here for 20 minutes and take this in. All I've got to do is commit to like less than 5 minutes in some occasions, and then I'm done. So it's like reducing the amount of pressure on myself to be able to learn the thing. And then also it's just, if I can't be bothered, if I pick the trick up and I genuinely start watching it and I'm like, this is not for me, I'll just put it down. Like, it's not, you know, I'm not piling that pressure on myself to actually learn the thing. And if it doesn't make sense in the moment, then just turn it off, that's fine. So now that I'm starting to learn some of these tricks, like top to bottom, start to finish, and I'm actually practicing a lot of the different sleights when I'm not like officially practicing, I'm so happy. Like, it just feels nice to have found a system where I'm able to actually learn, and then I can demonstrate the fruits of my labor. What a cringy thing to say, but like, that feels good. I'm then getting rather than the instant gratification, I'm getting the delayed gratification of actually seeing something through start to finish, which is then motivating us to pick the next thing up. And I think that's how in the last week I've learned 3 tricks, whereas in the last year I've might have like 20% learned 10 tricks if I'm lucky. So I've been really leaning on the ones that are like just impossibly easy to do. I'm really interested to hear, like, if you've got ADHD or you're autistic, like, what's your learning style and what works for you, what hasn't worked for you. Like, super interested in the discussion around that, because I do think, you know, when I first started learning magic and getting involved in as much as I was complaining about being able to find community and whatnot, like, I really do think that this, similar to like how a lot of developers, for example, in the profession that I used to work in, that had a higher proportion of neurodivergent folk. I think magic's probably the same. And I don't know why, but I think it's just the complexity of like some of the routines and learning these things. Like, magic really is built for like people with ADHD and autism especially. Like, and then also it's like, magic for me is just a form of masking. And I might do a separate video on this altogether, but the performance side of it and the learning the script, like, I've done a lifetime of learning a script before I have a conversation. So what's really interesting to me is that we all do this as magicians. So actually, I think I definitely will make a video on that, because I think that's an interesting topic to dive into as well. But anyway, that's what's working, and I really want to hear about what's working for you. So if this video is relatable and you like any of my content, please drop us a like, subscribe. Would love that. I'm on 10 subscribers. Look at me, 40-year-old virgin with 10 subscribers. And I'm going to try and repair this drawer now that I've stopped opening it 700 times a day. So thank you very much for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you on the next one.